We have to preface this entire conversation a different way, right? There will never be another Dragon Ball FighterZ. Or maybe? I don't know anymore, man. So I think what I said, like, what is it, a month ago? That still stands. However, what's crazy about it is the turnaround. This was clearly planned. There was clearly, like, we already saw there was news that there could be more Dragon Ball FighterZ things happening, like, potentially. Just to preface what's happening, we got to go back because I sat here and woke up and I looked at my phone and I'm like, what am I looking at? Is this some Dragon Ball Goten Burasami Daima thing? What is this? And I'm like, why is there a Dragon Ball FighterZ logo on this? Wait a minute, why? And I kept scrolling, like, refresh it. This is not real. This is AI. And then I eventually am seeing a crowd of people that are getting excited about this. I'm like, wait a minute, what? It seemed honestly fake because this is not what I think anybody was expecting. And we now have to make a follow-up video to the one video we had earlier. This was shown at Evo France. Evo France is going on right now. And it's starting to make a lot of sense, bro. Why Evo France brought back Dragon Ball of all games. Granted, it's a big game in France just in general. Some of the best players in the world in Dragon Ball FighterZ are from France. So having this be like the big premiere game, like one of the big surprise games at Evo this year was pretty like, oh, that's interesting. I think that's just because of like, obviously cultural demand, all that kind of stuff. Lo and behold, it's actually here because Dragon Ball FighterZ has somehow returned. It is not done. Like Lord Palpatine from the ashes, this bitch refused to die. Right, and it's like, okay, yeah, they're doing an esports thing, right? It's just gonna be a big esports sort of situation. All the best players coming together to challenge each other again. That makes sense. Like, cause I think the esports thing for Sparking didn't go particularly well. This was always gonna be their big Dragon Ball esports game, you know? Neat, right? Neat. Cool. Wow, that's crazy. More Dragon Ball FighterZ esports stuff. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, we'll be there for that. That'll be... Wow. The fight is far from over. And this dropped today. Z-Reflect is crazy. Now you can perfect parry Z-Reflect? Wild ass character changes again. It's out now. Wow, that's crazy. A balance patch, you know? A final balance patch? Huh? And they're putting in new characters, dude. Like SS4 Goku? What the... The big fuzzy bitch himself? And now he's showing up in spring. All kind of focused around this one event. That's insane. New Goku just dropped? That's insane. And there's already stuff like this in the game, but like, at the same point, like, what in the holy... How are we here? Like, legit, how are we here? And I have to like pull up some information. The whole crazy part about this is that I think it was about a month and a half ago, there was a teaser from like the Dragon Ball esports guys where they were talking about like, you know, some of their future esports efforts for, it was like Sparking Zero and big events and stuff. And they were kind of talking about, one mention was the future of Dragon Ball FighterZ, which would be showing up right around this time. So that's fascinating because we was like, so wait a minute, are they not done with Dragon Ball FighterZ? It's been like years, man. It feels like it's almost been 2 years. I'm actually not even too sure. It's at least been like a year since this stuff has pretty much happened, since the last big balance patch. But seemingly the game is just not done. The game is not finished. And they came back to it in the same way that they sort of came back to, I think it was Lab Coat 21. Lab Coat 21 was added really late into the game's lifespan, like really late. So what does this mean, right? Was my old video stupid? Is my video that I made like a month and a half ago actually for dumb people? There will never be another Dragon Ball FighterZ? What I'm looking at right now is not really a commitment to another Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. It does not seem like this is a concentrated effort to get you on board with a brand new game, because they would probably be just making a new game. But in terms of Dragon Ball FighterZ being a game that has ever evolved and ever changed over the years, let's be real, dude. What Dragon Ball FighterZ is, even with this patch and the last patch, is practically a DBFZ 2 in comparison to the launch version of the game. It's just been around that long, dude. So a complete refresh of characters, like you start thinking of if they were to make a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 in the future, what does that look like? Do we just have another 16 character roster game where it's like a lot of familiar faces and some new ones? That doesn't start to make a lot of sense. They sort of crammed nearly as many characters as they could into this thing throughout the lifespan of Dragon Ball FighterZ 1, you know? And that's where I start to respect this a little bit, right? As much as I would love the hype of a brand new Dragon Ball FighterZ, I'd love the cycle of it, I'd love to play the new things like a completely different game, yeah, that would be exciting. But to be real, like what Dragon Ball FighterZ ended up becoming over these years and where it's at right now is practically Dragon Ball FighterZ 2, if not 3, you know? It's gone through so many changes over time, including getting rollback netcode. This reminds me very much of a situation this could be leading towards, which is something that we hoped would happen to Smash Brothers. And I've said it before, man, and it's like, I hope this happens to Smash. It's Bandai Namco, dude, so maybe it does. We've hoped that Smash does not need to like commit to a brand new Smash game and sort of reintroduce characters all over again, because they have like an insurmountable roster. You have a game that made so many people happy, dude. So it's going to be kind of hard to follow this up in some way. It'll likely be disappointing if they were to make an entirely new game. It feels like that's what they're doing here with Dragon Ball. And I wish that would happen to Smash. Don't get me wrong. I wish that would happen to Smash, where they just keep updating it and just make it look better and all that kind of stuff. But you have to start asking questions. Okay, so how do you continue Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 if there's been like this big period of time, like a big gap? If Arc System Works is in the background and they're cooking again, and they're out here working on Strive, Grand Blue, DBFZ again, because again, Arc Sys has to be the one doing this, dude. If these characters, if we're getting brand new characters, it's got to be Arc System Works doing this stuff, as well as Tokon. Then my dude, those guys are busy as holy shit. Do you think Arc Sys worked on this character? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they would have had to. Here's the thing. You will definitely know when you see the next trailer for this character, you will absolutely be able to tell the quality difference, man. Nothing looks like an Arc System Works character, much less looks like an Arc System Works game in execution. They just don't. Even when you get games like DNF Duel, yes, a big portion of that game was developed by Aiding, and they made the gameplay, but dude, the visuals were Arc System Works. Like, they're the ones that pulled off that game looking as good as it does. So you're not gonna be able to sneak in a character like under the table that is to sort of like throw you off, hey, we made this, they didn't type of thing. I don't know, man. That seems very unlikely, and it would be very obvious if the quality difference between the characters, because Arc System Works is who they are for very good reasons, you know? So anyway, let's just take it at face value. Arc System Works is working on the game again. They're making characters, and the game is far from being done. What can actually happen with DBFZ? Number one, we need a ranked mode overhaul. I'm gonna say it right now. We absolutely need a ranked mode overhaul in some way. The goofy ass squares and that kind of stuff, that's ancient ASW tech, dude. So just straight up, we're talking about online stuff in some way. The chibi lobbies are functional to a certain degree, but my dude, like, I get it. More characters would be cool. It's cool to see the game updated in some way. Probably more assists, like who knows? The game's likely gonna be going in a variety of directions. But to me, there's two big things that Dragon Ball was always sort of lacking in its online functionality and made it hard to enjoy online. Number one was the netcode. They fixed that with this version. Number two was the fact that finding players could be kind of cumbersome and you got the same people over and over again. So crossplay is pretty important, man. And they mentioned before that at this Master Showdown thing at like Q1 of next year, there's going to be another update for Dragon Ball FighterZ to let us know outside of the spring update for Super Saiyan 4, right? I truly hope that if the rank mode doesn't get an overhaul, because I honestly want this game to feel like it's in like a 2.0 situation, like no kidding, Strive 2.0 kind of thing, where they can do a ranked mode overhaul, but more importantly, a crossplay thing, dude. Actually have crossplay. Crossplay with a brand new season pass would be nuts, man. That would be absolutely crazy. And I think that is the proper continuation of Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think that makes sense to me. And personally speaking, I got to a point where I discovered characters in this game that are awesome, that I really enjoy playing, you know? So I don't know if I want to lose those, man. I really don't. I don't know if I want to go back to just Vegeta Blue, Goku red hair. Like, I don't know if I want to go back to like a baseline start again with a lot of the basic characters and lose and potentially never get back Baby Broly, bro. I don't know if I want to lose that kind of character, DBS Broly. Like that character does so much for me in this game that it's absolutely crazy. So that being said, I think this is a really, really good route for approach. I think this was a crazy announcement that I didn't think this would happen, dude. I thought they might be adding crossplay, but why? I don't know, right? I don't know. Things just don't line up. They do not make sense. I think the only people that would be disappointed by this potentially is if the patch is not good. If the patch is crazy and is like leading the game into an even crazier route, then who knows? I'm kind of here waiting to gauge the community of like, so how is this stuff being interpreted? You know, how crazy does the game get? The defensive stuff is really cool, and the patch notes are out. I looked at DBS Broly, man, and all I saw was buffs. All I saw was buffs. I look at Goku Black. All I see is buffs, and I see a couple of nerfs on Super Baby 2, which makes sense because I think he ended up being one of the best characters in the game. But still, I'm mad curious, right? I cannot believe that this is dropping and happening when like I'm enjoying other fighting games and I'm playing 5 other games. I think that's disgusting, actually. I think this is the coolest thing to happen, and it's also effing gross. At one point, I'm like, this is the coolest thing that can happen. Blah! Because like, how the hell? I need to literally clone myself, dude. I think it's really good news. I kind of want to see the crowd reaction. Hold up. What is this? Whoa, Kaiser, whoa, what is whoa, chill. An appropriate reaction. Are we in a Dragon Ball FighterZ renaissance? I think we could honestly be leading towards it, right? If it's not happening right now, the last year has been sort of like a lot of disparity, you know, in terms of DBFZ and where the game's gone and people playing it and all that kind of stuff. I think if it is at a point where everyone's going to get back together, dude, that's a crossplay situation, man. That's a crossplay with a new character. If you're having brand new content, brand new update to the game, and you can play it with people through the other systems, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Without that, this is really cool. This is really cool, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is still catching up, right? It's still catching up to the modern fighting game, which the de facto standard is crossplay and rollback netcode. So, you know, until we actually get to that point, I think that is going to be the actual true renaissance for the game.